Hello and all. Welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. This one we're talking Ilia Topuria, champion of featherweight division, and recent news circulating claiming that Ilia Topuria is ready to move on from the featherweight division. We're going to talk about the possibility of Ilia moving up to lightweight. What does that exactly mean? But before getting started, make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification to get all of this that is new from this channel, your channel, the one and only MMA Vision Analysis. It has to be said and credits has to be given when it's due. Daniel Cormier, alongside with his co-host on Daniel Cormier's personal YouTube channel, actually spoke about this on an episode. I believe it was dropped yesterday. Let's say the 11th of December. I'm recording this the 12th of December. His co-host Ben Askren, DC and Ben Askren talk about Ilia. They spoke about many things, but they talked about Ilia Topuria, and they talked about how Ilia is ready to move on from that featherweight division. Great points were brought up, like I believe it was DC that said that it's not like Ilia Topuria is short on opponents in that featherweight division. Personally speaking, I think featherweight division is the deepest division in terms of high-level talent in the UFC. You don't believe me? Look at the top 8 names, and you're going to recognize and realize that any one of those guys can be put against the other, and it would be an amazing close fight. Right? From champion Ilia Topuria to number 7, 8 ranked, whoever that is at this point. I don't know if Aljo's going to lose his ranking. Last time, the former bantamweight champion was ranked number 8 last time I checked. I don't know if that's been, changed a little bit or whatnot. But, like I said, the featherweight division is the deepest division in the UFC. So what I'm trying to say here is that Ilia would not necessarily be short on opponents in terms of a top class opponent in terms of just pure fighting abilities, but in terms of, no disrespect to anybody here beyond Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski, but unfortunately for those guys, despite being super good fighters, just not big enough names to create real noise. I mean, he's just defeated formerly known pound for pound greatest fighter on the planet, Alexander Volkanovski, and then he went on to knocked out Max Holloway, something that's never been done before. After Max Holloway had the knockout of the year, really, UFC 300 against Justin Gaethje, up a weight class. So, I mean, the spectacular thing in featherweight has been done. I see the logic behind that, and I believe it was brought up, actually, by DC and Ben Askren. When they talked about the subject, they said that, basically the biggest 2 fights for, to be had for Ilia, they're already done. He's done it in spectacular fashion. So there is no more glamour after this. It's just defending your title against hungry upcomers, the likes of Diego Lopez, the likes of Bruno Silva, the likes of Ivalev, and so on. So the wise thing to do is to move up a weight class, especially when you look at the landscape of the lightweight division. Aside from the champion of the division, which I think that's where things will stop for Ilia Topuria, is when he gets to face if it is Islam at that time. Obviously there has been it was talked about, I believe, by DC and Ben Askren that let's throw him in there against Charles Oliveira. I believe they brought that up, which I think it's a fantastic idea. Charles Oliveira, Ilia Topuria to determine number 1 contender for that title. It's going to sets up nicely for like the end of the year 2025, towards the end of the year. Let's say around August of 2025, and we really might see Ilia challenge for that lightweight title. I mean, to say he gets past Charles Oliveira, because I wouldn't assume that he gets a title shot immediately, especially taking into consideration that champion of the division just dismissed it time and time again. Islam, that is. Last time he did, to my knowledge, was UFC 311 press conference. Just dismissed the idea of him being interested in fighting Ilia directly. But when he wins, when he beats the number one contender, it's inevitable that he has to do what he have to do in there against Ilia Topuria. And in all honesty, I don't think I'm necessarily opposed to this idea here. Now, how beneficial would this be for Ilia? I think the guys just thought things through very well. I believe in Ilia and his camp, and they made the wise decision. If this is the decision to move up in weight, I believe this is the wise decision, because things are not going to get easier in that featherweight division. I mean, but this is not conclusive. We talked about the rematch against Alexander Volkanovski in Australia. You have Diego Lopez. You have so many other contenders. And look, if he wants to stay and fight in that featherweight division, he's going to be busy for the next 3 years, for sure. We will find him opponent every single time. Matter of fact, we'll find him 2 opponents every year. If he wants 3, we'll bring him 3. Like I said, there's from number 1 all the way to number 8. If I'm not mistaken, number 8, last time I checked, was former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling. And in between 1 and 8, you have other champions. As far as I know, Max Holloway still a featherweight fighter, former champion. Alexander Volkanovski, former champion. And that's 4 champions, top 8. Right? It's a wild division, and whether he stays or goes, the competition is there for whoever holds that title in the featherweight division. But for Ilia Topuria, I think the wise thing to do is perhaps to move up to that lightweight division, even though I don't know how good he does against Islam Makhachev. Just being honest. If you made it this far, appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know if you comment, like, subscribe for more.